picture this scenario for a second. You are 20 feet in the air, leaning entirely backward off a wet metal ladder.
Sounds terrifying already.
Right. And both of your hands are swinging this heavy axe to ventilate a window.
Yeah.
And the only thing keeping you from just, plummeting backward onto the concrete below is the exact placement of your left boot.
It's intense.
It really is. Welcome to the show. I mean, we usually spend our time looking at these big abstract theories, but today we are taking a deep dive into a masterclass in human performance.
Communication, too.
Exactly. Communication and physical control under just extreme pressure. We are decoding this official testing rubric called GLPO leg lock on a ladder.pdf.
Yeah, it is a very incredibly specific document. What we are looking at is the official grading standard for the Florida Fire Minimum Standards practical exam.
Right.
Specifically, it's this one station where a candidate has to demonstrate a ground ladder leg lock.
And for you listening, our mission today is to figure out why a seemingly basic physical task, just climbing up a ladder and locking your leg into it, is actually this grueling psychological gauntlet.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the candidate has exactly 4 minutes and 40 seconds to execute this entire operation flawlessly.
Not a second more.
Yeah, and the craziest part, the state examiner isn't just grading where the candidate puts their boots. They're grading every single word that comes out of the candidate's mouth.
Literally every word.
Yeah. If you fail to speak the exact right words at the exact right time, you fail the exam. Even if your physical climbing form is, Olympic level perfect.
Right. The verbalization requirements are so stringent because the physical danger is just absolute.
Yeah.
The test is basically designed to measure whether your mind and your body are operating in total synchronization.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the tension actually starts before anyone even touches the ladder.
Oh, yeah. Long before.
There is this massive verbal checklist the candidate has to recite to the examiner while they're literally just standing on the ground.
Right, the pre-evolution stuff.
Exactly. They have to state that they're wearing full PPE. They will notify incident command. They'll monitor conditions. They will go on air if they are in an IDLH environment, which that means immediately dangerous to life or health, basically putting on their breathing mask.
Right, and the list goes on. They must verbally commit to notifying interior and exterior crews of their actions.
It's so much to remember.
Having a charged backup hose line, shutting down utilities, identifying a secondary means of egress, and working from the windward side.
I am going to push back on this right out of the gate, though, because if I am trapped in a burning building, the last thing I want is the firefighter outside reciting a 9-point grocery list to an examiner.
It sounds like a delay, yeah.
Isn't this just bureaucratic red tape? If you were taking a state firefighting exam, shouldn't it be a given that you know to check the wind direction or, look for a second exit?
You'd think so, right?
Yeah. Why burn precious time on that 4-minute and 40-second clock stating the obvious out loud?
What's fascinating here is that in high-stakes environments, assumed knowledge is essentially zero knowledge.
Wait, really?
Yeah. In a classroom, sure, you can assume someone knows to look for a second exit. But on a chaotic fire ground, the brain's natural response is tunnel vision.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
The stress hormone cortisol just floods the system, and you get hyperfixated on the immediate threat, the fire, or maybe simply just climbing the ladder.
Right.
By forcing the candidate to say these things out loud, the rubric is actually forcing their brain's executive function to stay online.
Oh, wow. So the talking overrides the panic response.
Precisely. And it also establishes their place in a complex system.
Right.
When they say they are checking the windward side, they aren't just, reading a bullet point.
Right.
They are confirming they know to work with the wind at their back. So flames and toxic smoke are pushed away from them, not directly into their face.
That's vital.
And when they confirm a charged backup hose line, they're acknowledging the hydraulics of their defense. A flat, empty hose is just a trip hazard.
Yeah, completely useless.
Exactly. A charged line is filled with pressurized water. It's heavy, rigid, and instantly ready to save their life if the fire flashes over.
Okay, that reframes the whole checklist for me. It is essentially a pilot's pre-flight routine.
That's a great way to look at
Like
it.
you sit in the cockpit, you check the flags and the dials out loud to your co-pilot, because relying on memory when the engines are screaming is how planes crash.
Exactly.
So the candidate verbally maps out the entire hazardous environment. Only then do they actually turn their attention to the ladder itself. But immediately, the source document lays out this linguistic trap regarding the ladder status.
Oh, yeah. It is a critical checkpoint that catches a lot of people off guard.
The candidate has to confirm the ladder is safe to climb. But if you look at the PDF, there is a massive red X next to a very specific failure.
Right.
If the candidate looks at the examiner and simply says, "The ladder is safe," it is an automatic deduction. And I don't fully get this.
Why not?
Well, if I look at a ladder and it isn't wobbling, why is the word safe by itself considered a failure?
Because safe is an incomplete thought. It is an opinion.
Oh.
The examiner doesn't care how the candidate feels about the ladder. They want to hear an acknowledgement of the specific mechanics providing that safety.
Right, the how.
Exactly. The candidate must explicitly say the ladder is safe and secure, or the ladder is safe and healed.
What is the mechanical difference between secure and healed? Like, does healed just mean the feet of the ladder are dug into the dirt?
No, healed actually means another human being is actively standing at the base.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're applying their body weight against the ladder to keep it from slipping backward.
Right.
Whereas secure means the ladder is physically tied or anchored to the structure itself with like a rope or a tool. By forcing the use of those specific words, the examiner ensures the candidate knows exactly what is keeping them alive. Are you trusting a mechanical knot, or are you trusting your teammate's body weight at the base?
So you cannot just blindly trust gravity.
Yeah,
You have to identify the anchor. Okay, so the ladder is safe and healed by a teammate. The ascent begins.
Yep.
The candidate climbs to the designated work height. But the talking doesn't stop, right? They have to continually verbalize, maintaining 3 points of contact, using my legs to climb,
Yeah.
and maintaining a smooth and controlled climb.
The physical rubric during the climb is heavily scrutinized. Hands must be positioned correctly, arms extended, eyes looking forward, not down at their feet.
Right.
And the document explicitly mandates absolutely no bouncing.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because the entire test has a strict time limit.
Right. 4 minutes and 40 seconds.
That clock is ticking. You are losing seconds on the pre-flight checklist. The natural human instinct would be to scramble up that ladder as fast as humanly possible to bank some time.
Of course it would.
Yet the instructions forbid rushing. They explicitly mandate no bouncing and do not rush into the lock. How do you reconcile a ticking clock with a mandate to take your time?
It comes down to the physics of dynamic loading versus static loading.
Okay, break that down for me.
Sure. When you climb smoothly, your weight is a static load. The ladder can easily support that. But if you rush and start bouncing up the rungs, you introduce dynamic loading.
Which is extra force.
Exactly. Every bounce multiplies the kinetic force driven down into the base of the ladder.
Oh, wow.
You can easily overcome the friction holding the base in place, or even knock your teammate who is heeling the ladder completely off balance.
So rushing literally creates the condition for a collapse.
It does. And physiology plays a part too. The verbalization using my legs to climb is a reminder not to pull yourself up with your arms.
Because they'd get tired.
Right. The leg muscles are massive and built for endurance. Arm muscles will burn out quickly under the weight of full fire gear.
That makes total sense.
If you exhaust your arms pulling yourself up, you won't have the grip strength left to actually swing an axe or pull a victim out of a window once you reach the top. Speed in this profession comes from economy of motion, not from hurrying.
I am starting to see how the vocalizations force the body into the correct rhythm.
Yeah, exactly.
So our candidate has smoothly ascended. They haven't bounced. They stop at their designated rung. Now we reach the absolute core of the exam. The maneuver, the entire test is named after the leg lock.
This is the procedure that turns a precarious balancing act into a stable workstation.
Right.
It allows the firefighter to let go of the ladder entirely and use both hands for heavy labor.
The source document provides a very specific sequence to weave the body into the ladder, and it requires a verbalization that basically functions as a rhythm track. The candidate has to say up 1, over 2.
It acts as an operational memory aid in the heat of the moment.
Let's walk through the visualization of this, because it essentially turns the human body into a knot.
It really does.
Imagine you are standing on a ladder. You need to swing a tool on the right side of the window. The document dictates that you step UP one rung with the foot on the working side. So your right foot steps up.
Just then, you bring your opposite leg, your left leg, over the next rung up, threading it through the gap between the rungs.
Up one with the right, over two with the left. I am picturing tying a slip knot, but instead of using a nylon rope, you are weaving your own femur and tibia through an aluminum grid.
Yeah.
It sounds uncomfortable, but it frees the hands.
It is incredibly secure when done correctly, but the candidate must state up one, over two out loud while their limbs are moving.
Right.
The examiner is listening for that phrase to confirm the brain is actually driving the sequence rather than the candidate just flailing their legs through the ladder, hoping they catch on to something.
But just throwing your leg through the gap isn't the end of it. The knot isn't tied until the anchor is set. Which brings us to the ultimate checkpoint of the entire test.
A big one.
This is the moment where candidates fail the minimum standards exam if they lose focus for even a second.
The final placement of the left foot.
Once your left leg is woven over that second rung, your foot must too hook the beam. For you listening, the beam is the long, continuous vertical side rail of the ladder.
Yeah.
You must wrap your toe around that vertical beam. The document features a massive, bold red X next to the instruction for hooking the horizontal rung.
It really highlights it.
It states unequivocally, not rung. This is one of the most common evaluator checkpoints. My initial thought reading this was, well, why does it matter?
A lot of people wonder that.
Right. If my leg is through the hole and my foot is resting on the rung beneath it, I am still stepping on the ladder. Why is that an automatic, catastrophic failure?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it is all about lateral capture and the physics of leverage.
Okay.
The rungs of a ladder are horizontal bars. If you hook your foot under a horizontal rung, it might feel secure if you pull straight up.
Right.
But what happens if you swing a heavy tool to your right? Your entire body twists.
Oh, your foot would just slide horizontally along the rung and slip right out.
Exactly. The rung offers zero lateral capture. Your foot would slide, the lock would instantly dissolve, and your center of gravity would rip you off the ladder.
That is terrifying.
But the vertical beam creates a multi-directional anchor. Your shin is pressing forward against the horizontal rung, but your toe is wrapped laterally around the back of the vertical beam.
I see.
You have created a locking lever using two different planes of the ladder. It locks the leg in place so securely that you can lean your entire torso backward into empty air, swinging an axe with both hands, and your body will not move.
So what does this all mean? It means the state examiners aren't just being pedantic, they are enforcing the unforgiving math of gravity.
Exactly.
There is zero margin for error when it comes to lateral capture.
That is why it is the most heavily scrutinized checkpoint. The document emphasizes this over almost anything else, because a failure here is a fatal fall.
So the candidate wraps the toe around the beam, they lock the lever, and then they must speak the magic words "leg lock established." I am secure and ready to perform work. They simulate doing their job, hands-free. And you would think, okay, the hard part is over.
You would think.
But the exam is far from finished. Getting out of this lock requires the exact same hyper-focused stringency as getting into it.
Absolutely.
The document outlines a descent protocol and specifically mandates a return to the neutral position.
Unwinding the physical knot of the leg lock is just as critical as tying it.
Right. To remove the lock, the candidate states, preparing to remove the leg lock, they unhook their foot from the vertical beam, bring the left leg back through the rungs, and then they have to do something very deliberate.
Very deliberate.
They must place both feet on the same rung, side by side. This is the neutral position.
Yeah.
Only after stating, returning to neutral position. Both feet are on the same rung. Can they even think about going down?
And descending before achieving that perfectly neutral state is an automatic failure.
Think about the psychological temptation to cheat here. The candidate has been working hard. The clock is probably at 4 minutes and 20 seconds. The adrenaline is pumping.
Oh yeah, they're exhausted.
You unhook your leg, and every instinct in your body is screaming to just drop that left foot down to the next lower rung and instantly start climbing down to stop the clock.
But bypassing the neutral state is a recipe for disaster.
It makes me think of driving a manual transmission car. If you are flying down the highway in fifth gear and you want to slow down, you can't just slam the gear shift into reverse.
Right, you destroy the engine.
You have to pass the stick through the middle. You have to pass through neutral. You must reset the machinery to zero before you shift the kinetic energy in a new direction.
This raises an important question about the physiology of balance.
How so?
Well, when you are in a leg lock, Your center of gravity is completely asymmetrical. All your weight is torqued into one side of the ladder.
Right.
If you try to transition directly from that torqued, locked state into a dynamic moving descent, your momentum will swing wildly.
Oh, that makes sense.
Forcing the candidate to stand with both feet on the exact same rung forces their central nervous system to reset. They recalibrate their bilateral balance. They find their true center of gravity again.
Wow.
Only then is it safe to introduce the downward motion.
It is brilliant. You cannot take a shortcut through physics. And even as they begin the descent, the talking doesn't stop.
Not at all.
As they climb down, they must face the ladder, maintain a smooth pace, not skip any rungs, and continually vocalize, maintaining 3 points of contact, descending in a controlled manner.
Yeah.
They must verbally hold their focus together until their boots physically touch the ground.
The mental load is not permitted to lift until the physical evolution is completely 100% terminated.
Honestly, it sounds utterly exhausting, but the rubric document actually provides a bit of mercy at the very end.
A little bit, yeah.
It offers a concise memory phrase for the candidates prepping for the state exam. It states that if you verbalize this specific sequence and perform the mechanics correctly, you will satisfy the major evaluator checkpoints. I want to read it because it perfectly encapsulates the entire grueling process we just walked through.
Let's hear the summary.
Safe and secure, up 1, over 2, hook the beam neutral before down.
15 words.
Just 15 words. But embedded inside those 15 words is an entire architecture of survival.
Truly.
They represent situational awareness, physiological control, spatial geometry, and a deep respect for lateral friction.
It is a remarkable distillation of a highly technical, high-consequence process into something the brain can actually access under severe stress.
It really is, and I think there is a profound takeaway for all of us here. Even if you never plan on climbing a 20-foot ladder in full turnout gear,
Right.
we have this cultural myth that in an emergency, our primal instincts will seamlessly take over and guide us to safety. But this testing rubric proves the exact opposite. In a chaotic, high-stress situation, your instincts are often your worst enemy. Instinct tells you to rush. Instinct tells you to scramble up the ladder. Instinct tells you to hook the horizontal rung because it requires less effort. Instinct tells you to skip the neutral position to save 3 seconds.
Unchecked instinct on a fire ground leads to erratic movement and structural failure. Precision requires executive control.
Exactly. And that is why the verbalizations are mandatory. By forcing candidates to speak their technical steps aloud while they perform them, the exam mathematically binds the conscious mind to the physical body.
Yeah.
The spoken words force the body to slow down and behave, and the physical danger forces the mind to stay present and alert. So here's a thought for you to carry with you.
Okay.
How might adopting your own verbalized checklist alter the way you navigate the high-stakes, stressful, or chaotic moments in your daily life? The next time you feel overwhelmed by a rapidly escalating situation, what might happen if you force yourself to speak your very next physical action out loud before you take it? A fascinating exercise in taking back control.
It really is. Until next time, keep digging deeper.